In the last lesson, we learned to locate fractions and decimals on number lines. Today, we will learn how to use a number line to find fractions and decimals between two other fractions and decimals. So at the top of your two-column notes, if you would head your paper, numbers between numbers. And this lesson correlates with our TEK 4.10. And in 4.10, we should be able to say, I can locate and name points on a number line using whole numbers, fractions, such as halves and fourths, and decimals such as tenths. Again, here's our verb to locate and to name, and we're going to name those points on a number line. Push pause to write your I can statement. Let's imagine that we have a number line, and our number line is going to be between 0 and 1 whole. And if I ask you to divide this number line, the first step, into divide into halves, I would take in my number line and I'd go to the point in the middle and I would put a line, and that would be 1/2. If I then ask you to divide this number line, the halves, into halves, well, if I have 0 and 1/2 and I divide that in half, that would be 1/4. This would be 2/4, and then I would divide this in half, and that would be 3/4. I would then ask you, does this number line show 3 fractions between 1/4 and 3/4? So there's my question. Are there 3 fractions between 1/4 and 3/4? And the answer is no. There's only one fraction so far, and that is 1/2. Right here. Here's 1/4, here's 3/4, and there's only one fraction. To try and obtain 3 fractions between 1/4 and 3/4, the next step I'm going to do is to divide each fractional part in half again. So between 0 and 1/4, if I divided that, that would be 1/8. And then this part would be 2/8. And this would be 3/8. And 1/2 and 2/4 is the same value as 4/8. And then here would be 5/8. And this would be 6/8. And then we would have 7/8. And this would be 8/8, which is 1 whole. I would go back to my question, number 3. Look at number 3. Are there again 3 fractions between 1/4 and 3/4? So let's take a look. Here's 1/4. Here's 3/4. Here's 1 fraction. Here's 2 fractions. Here's 3 fractions. time, the answer is yes, I have 3 fractions between 1/4 and 3/4. Well, what are they? Here's the first one, 3/8. The second one would be 1/2, and the third would be 5/8. If you go back to our I can statement to locate and name points on a number line, and we want to do it between fractions, we'll be able to do that. We located 3 fractional parts between 1/4 and 3/4, and they were 3/8, 1/2, and 5/8. Push pause. Can you keep dividing fractions into an infinite amount of fractions? Could I keep dividing this in half between 0 and 1/8 and 1/8 to 1/4? Yes, you can. There is an infinite number of fractions. Therefore, there is no greatest or least fraction or decimal on a number line. Push pause. Let's go to our first word problem. Tara is bolting together a metal sculpture. She needs to drill holes that are greater than 1/4 inch, but less than 2/4 of an inch. Let's find 3 fractions between 1/4 and 2/4. Push pause. From my data, I know that my number line will fall between 0 and 1 because 1/4 and 2/4 fall between 0 and 1. The next step, I know, is that we are going to divide our number line into 4 equal parts because my fractions, the denominator is 4, so there we are going to make it into 4 equal parts. So here's 2 equal parts and 4. This would be 1/4, 2/4, or 1/2. Same value, and this is 3/4. So we first divided into 4 equal parts. We have to look, they want between 1/4 and 2/4. Do you see right now 3 fractions that are between 1/4 and 2/4? And the answer is no. So then we have to divide our fractional parts again into halves. So if I divide between 0 and 1/4 into a half, that makes it 1/8. This would be 2/8. And then in half here would be 3/8. And this is 4/8. 4/8 has the same value of 1/2. This would be 5/8. Here is 6/8. 7/8. And 8/8 is, of course, 1 whole. Push pause. Let's take a look back at our two fractions that they want to know about. They want three fractions between 1/4 and 2/4. When I look at how many fractions we have so far, I only see one, and that's 3/8. So again, we are going to divide our fractional parts into halves again. And when I do that into halves again, this one we divided, that made it eighths. This time it will be 16ths. So here would be 1/16. That would be 1/8 is 2/16. Then we have 3/16, 4/16, 5/16. 6/16 is right here. This would be 7/16. 8/16 is the same value as 1/2. And we have 9/16, 10/16, 11/16, 12/16 has the same value of 6/8 or 3/4. This would be 13/16, 14/16, 15/16, and 16/16 is the same value as 1/2. Push pause. We go back to our number line. Now, are there three fractions between 1/4 and 2/4? Well, let's take a look. Here's 1/4, and here's 2/4 again. I'm going to highlight those in yellow. 1/4 and 2/4. Well, let's see. Here's one fraction, here's two fractions, here's three fractions. So can we name those three fractions? Yes, we can. They are 5/16. Oops. That's a blooper. 5/16. What would the next one be? 3/8. And the last one would be 7/16. And those three fractions are answering our question, what size of drill holes are greater than 1/4 inch but less than 2/4? So these are the possible drill hole sizes. Push pause. We are going to try one more example, and this time we are going to use decimals. So we are going to find a number between 1 and 8/10 and 1 and 9/10. Now, the examples we used before were between 0 and 1. These have a whole number before their decimals, and they are 1. That means that our fractional parts are going to be between 1 and 2. I know by my decimals here that our parts are in tenths, so I'm going to divide my number line into, oh, that wasn't very equal. Let's try that again. Into tenths. Let's try it this way. Here's 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10, and then the number 2. Push pause. On this example, they want us to find a number between 1 and 8/10, which is right here, and 1 and 9/10, which is right here. And right now, the way our number line is, we don't show that. So I'm going to draw a number line, another one, and I'm going to take this part, 8/10, and then the other part, because they want the number to fall between 8/10 and 9/10, and this is actually 1 and 8/10 and 1 and 9/10. To find numbers between 8/10 and 9/10 now, I'm going to have to extend my place value out to the hundredths place value. So if I divide this number line, this would be 81/100ths, 1 and 82/100ths, 1 and 83/100ths, 1 and 84/100ths, 1 and 85/100ths, 1 and 86/100ths, 1 and 87/100ths, 1 and 88/100ths, 1 and 89/100ths, and then the next would be 1 and 9/10, or 90/100ths. If I want to find a number between 1 and 8/10 now and 1 and 9/10, look at all my possibilities. We would have 1 and 81/100ths. We could choose 1 and 82/100ths. You could choose 1 and 83/100ths, and so on. All of these up to, I'm just going to draw dots, 1 and 89/100ths. So that's all of the possible numbers between 1 and 8/10 and 1 and 9/10. If you go back to your I Can statement pages, you were able today to locate and name points on a number line, and you were able to find fractions or decimals between each fraction or decimal. We will practice some more tomorrow. Have a good night.